Good morning, this is Carrie Beth, and I am documenting the remodel and gutting of my 1994 Fleetwood Pace Arrow. Step inside and give you a quick tour of what all is going on so far. Here's the refrigerator I have taken out. I already have a buyer for it, so that'll be leaving soon. I'm kind of putting all the components that I've removed kind of in the front here, so it's kind of crowded. Okay, here is the kitchen that I have been gutting so far. Let's see, we removed the refrigerator, the stove, and now I will be working on getting the sink and the cabinetry below the sink removed within the next few days. Here's my table with a lot of the tools I'm using. Alright, as we go along, you can see the gutting I've been doing right to the outer walls. Okay, we head back here down the hallway. I removed this window last fall. Kind of the start of the water damage. And along down the wall to the bedroom. I had a major water leak up here in the corner of the bedroom here, and I haven't gutted it fully, but I'll be making my way around to it. The bed is a area built up for tools that I'm using with the remodel. I'll be getting rid of the mattress. It's probably no good to resell since it got so damp in here, so I'll probably be taking that to the dump. And then back this way to the bathroom. Not really doing anything in the bathroom here quite yet. I'm going to work my way around the RV first. So this last week I've been concentrating on gutting the wall down to the fiberglass here where the stove used to be, and as of right now it is where the most water damage that I've seen yet has happened. If you take a look at here on the steel beam here, that was right next to the refrigerator. It is wasted away. The water is totally eating it through. Pretty bad. You can also see all the water stains, and how when I peeled it off, I peeled off the top layer of the fiberglass as well. But it's all been drying out for the last couple of days. The nice thing is the leak fixes I did last fall have worked. All of this damage I'm uncovering has been in here the whole time. No new water damage, at least I don't think. So today I'm going to continue the gut of the wall that was up above the stove. I want to expose it all to get it all drying out. I'm going to work my way towards the kitchen window. Then after I reach that point, we'll think about starting to take out the sink. So right now what I've been finding that has been working the best to strip down these layers until the fiberglass has been the good old oscillating tool with this attachment right there. I've tried some other attachments, but they just haven't seemed to perform as well. I will also use a hammer and chisel as well. It's a very slow process, gutting out the paneling boards, luan, and insulation. And using the oscillating tool is the quickest I've found so far, but it still takes plenty of time. So now that I've made numerous horizontal cuts across with the oscillating tool, I'll start on some vertical cuts to divide them up into smaller chunks. Then I'll take the hammer and pry bar and just chip them out. Then when I'm done with that, I'll take the oscillating tool again with this attachment and shear off the remaining insulation, kind of like shearing a sheep. Okay, so I have all the horizontal lines cut through the insulation and paneling, and all the vertical lines cut into smaller squares that I can now chisel out. And in about an area about this big is all I can do with my oscillating tool, because it's pretty hot and it needs a break. So it works out. And as you can see, for safety measures, I always unplug, just in case, because we don't want to accidentally step on the tool or bump it and have it start up and cause some damage. Alright, on to the chiseling. Okay, this is how I've been chiseling. It's probably not the best way to do it, but it's the way that's been working for me. If you have any suggestions on how to do this task a little better, please let me know. There. And basically the whole chunk comes out. And I continue on. Now, I always want to be careful not to drive it too far in so as not to damage the outer fiberglass. It is definitely easier to remove the wet insulation and paneling than it is the parts that are more dry. I also use a pry bar, a little bit bigger. Sometimes it can go a little faster. That was a good one. Trying very hard not to damage the outer fiberglass. Here's a 5-gallon bucket of the insulation and paneling squares. Fills up pretty fast. Now that the majority of insulation and paneling chunks are removed, it's time to shear the wall and take care of the remaining insulation. Putting my mask on, just like shearing a sheep. Here are two examples of some of the insulation blocks that I chipped off. And this one, look at how black the side that was touching the steel beams is. This motorhome is over 25 years old and there's been a lot of water damage over the years. Then take a look at the side that was touching, that was glued to the fiberglass, and you can see the, I guess, top layer of the fiberglass came off with it. It's still wet when I put my finger on it. So that's how waterlogged and weakened the outer portion of the fiberglass was when I chipped it off. Okay, here's an example of another piece. You can see where it's all black from the years of the steel being wet. And you can see some of the rust damage in that. And there was the paneling. I had no idea it was this damaged behind the stove. I knew there was water damage, but I didn't know it was to this extent until I took the stove out. Before continuing on with my leftward move here to the window to get rid of all the insulation and paneling in the window, I'd like to remove at least this cabinet here before I get going. What I've noticed about these older RVs, and I don't know if it's true with the newer ones as well, but this isn't just one nice cabinet all put together then attached to the RV. It's It's just a bunch of pieces of wood all stapled together. It isn't really a cabinet, a freestanding cabinet. So I'll go ahead and I'll take the pry bar, because I've already removed the nails from all the places that there were, or excuse me, screws. You can see those 3 there. 1, 2, and 3. There really weren't that many, and then in the back there, these support pieces. There really wasn't that many screws to remove. And you remove them and it doesn't make the cabinet move. So I'm going to have to start prying things apart. I was kind of hoping to be able to quote-unquote save these cabinets, but doesn't look like that's going to be the case. I'll have to install all new ones. As you see, I took the pry bar to the cabinet here, and I was able to pry the front from the side. Looks like I can get another pry in there and pull it further apart. But yeah, it's glue and staples. Not really what I pictured a typical cabinet to be. So the front was loosened enough, and I can take it down. There we go. Set that aside. Okay, the front face is off. Now you can see what I mean by staples. That's what was holding the front face on this cabinet. You can see it's just paneling in there, glued and or stapled. Probably same with the other side there. Taking down the bottom face trim of this cabinet, you can see how the major screws are orientated. Look and see there's staples, there's a screw, staples, and there's a screw. But if you look under, you can't access loosening that screw from the underside. You pretty much have to tear the whole thing apart in order to access these major screws. I'll have to take up this. But yeah, that is how RV cabinets are made. Okay, here on this outer side of the cabinet near the kitchen window, I took off the light switch. Right there. And if you see on the back of the light switch, there's the 2 terminals that were connected to these connectors, which go up into the electrical circuit, the DC electrical circuit. And it wasn't difficult taking those off. They're, I can't remember the exact phrase, but to me they're spade-like terminals. And I just gently took some pliers and pulled them off. Now, I can move the wiring out of the way to finish tearing down the rest of this cabinet. With the light switch wiring out of the way, we'll tear this on down. There we go. It's kind of held on by staples. There. The big side piece is off. Now it's just some framing. I found an interesting little surprise when taking off the electrical cover here for the wiring harnesses that run up above everything to the front. Look at that. An electrical outlet that's never been used. Attached right there to the harness. Interesting. Wonder what more surprises I'll find. Hey, looking at that surprise outlet that I found. Some wiring from the harness runs up into this hole here, which I'm assuming runs all the way down to our kitchen GFCI outlet there. So it's important to note that when I make my way across here, across the sink, that I'll just need to be careful not to accidentally cut that wire, a group of wires there in that bundle. Not that it's extremely important. And here's the grand finale of today. This is that nice kitchen cabinet. That's what it really is. Just a bunch of pieces and a little bit of framework. Looks so sad in that pile right now. Thanks for watching today.